The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Full Melt.
The voters who supported the proposal to allow marijuana in public places won't be able to see smoke in bars or restaurants after all. The Liquor Enforcement Division of the Department of Revenue announced a new rule today. Anywhere with a liquor license cannot allow marijuana consumption. The idea to ban marijuana at bars and restaurants came up over the summer, driven by the liquor industry. Places like coffee shops, yoga studios, and other alcohol-free establishments could still get marijuana use permits. Marijuana dispensaries were never on the list of eligible businesses. It is illegal to buy and consume marijuana at the same place under state law.
It's the Full Melt Show.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
It's the Full Melt Show, a marijuana discussion about news, culture, and entertainment. It's celebrity interviews, talks with politicos. Plus, your calls are on the air. Download the Full Melt app, free at the Apple and Android app stores. The Full Melt Show.
I don't know. I gotta adjust the audio here. I'm not sure if I'm big on that whole intro yet. What do you think about the intro? Because I think it's a little bit grandiose. I think it's a little too much.
Yeah, go with it.
I don't think so. I gotta change it. I mean, I don't mind the music here. The music's all right. I picked the music, but it's the whole. I don't know. The guy that wrote that intro, and then sent it out to have somebody voice it, because that's nobody I know. I have no idea who that guy is to introduce the show. The music here goes a little long too. We could use a little bit shorter music in the intro. I don't know. I like the music because it supports the open. It makes me talk. Makes me talk a little bit more fresh, a little more off the cuff. Hey, we've got a studio dog out of control. Hey, shh, hey. Oh, you know what the new routine is. All right. Oh, he's going to get the squeak toy out now.
Nice.
He's going to squeak in the background like the entire show.
No.
It's retribution for making him go to his little spot there.
He'll settle.
Oh, there's going to be nonstop squeaking now the rest of the show.
I'll grab it.
Give him the red ball.
Okay, here. No, the ball didn't distract.
No, it's going to happen.
All right, I'll grab it.
There it goes. See, it already happened.
All right, we'll leave it.
See, now there'll be shards of red ball material in a giant shred pile.
Okay.
That I'll have to go sweep up after the show. But it's better than the squeaking.
Oh yeah.
Because that squeaking, I don't know. It's like the at Christmas time when you get the kids with the fire trucks and the little noisy. Oh, you went back to the squeaker. Yeah, when you give them the red ball, you got to take the squeaker away.
All right, hold on. I'm going in. Red 5 going in.
Red 5 going in. Hang on. No, you gotta make the trade off where he can't tell what's going on. No. Hey, look, it's dog control 101. The studio dog needs to be under control. All right, you entertain for a minute while I take care of this.
All right, I accomplished the extraction of the squeaky toy. It was undercover. There was 4 wives. It was an Obama-led extraction of the squeaky toy. So we're actually going to talk about cannabis today. Steve said that we want to talk about the barriers that are coming up with the new laws and what seems to be emerging at this point.
What's going on is, in the open there, you heard how Denver. So here's how it went. Denver passed Prop 300. Now, Proposition 300 was a local proposition in the Denver ballot that allowed for businesses in Denver to apply for an adult cannabis use permit. So, because right now it's illegal any place, pretty much, really there's no exception anywhere. And basically in the state, nobody has an allowance for, and this applies across the whole country as far as I understand.
It's a social club.
There's no use of adult cannabis out in public. You can't in public use cannabis in any fashion, anywhere. So it was part of what they, I think, I feel like I'm talking out of my ass a little bit because specifically I don't know where that idea came from. I think it's if memory serves, I believe this is a whole situation where there is a See, now we got a problem here again.
Place.
Come on.
I'll take care of it. You pontificate. I'll take care of it.
It's killing me.
Just
It's killing me.
look away. I'll take care of it. 5 seconds or less.
so,
Continue talking.
Hey.
I'll take
No,
care of
no,
it.
you're not taking care of it.
Right now. Just give me
Go. So, here we go. You're going the wrong way.
Doesn't matter. He'll forget about it eventually. All right. I'm good.
No, he's not. This is not the. He needs to be dog. All right, I can't take it. Come here.
So here's the thing. They
No, just hang on.
dead air.
I don't care. This needs to be like this. All right. Insanity. I'm trying to talk about Prop 300 and I'm wrangling a dog. So, there is no adult cannabis use anywhere in the country in open public.
Public.
There's no legal adult use in any of the rec states in public. So, Denver was the first one to solve this problem, because Alaska's still working at trying to solve this problem. They're trying to do this, but they haven't come up with any rules. The department that's responsible for making the rules isn't really putting it forth in a way that's allowing for this to take place yet. And how long is Alaska along now? I mean, they've been on board for a while. It's been at least a year and a half. So in any event, Denver passes this ordinance that says businesses can apply for a license for adult use at their establishment. It's $1,000, and the license could be for as little as 1 day or as long as a year. It could be anything in
So
between.
you could have a pop-up event with marijuana if you got the right license.
Correct. So the idea is, say if you're a club and you don't want marijuana use there all the time, but you want to maybe rent the club out to a cannabis event holder.
Bachelorette party.
No, like, say, for example, High Times wants to have an after party or something there. You could apply for a permit for just that after party. It's still going to be $1,000 for the permit, but it's just going to be for that event, whatever, how long it is.
Sounds
a day
reasonable.
or 2 days or 3 days, whatever. But also, by the same token, let's say you're just a mom and pop eatery down the sidewalk somewhere. You could, if you were in what would be considered a cannabis-friendly district, if that's what you wanted to create, I guess, in your area, you could open up a little, if you got this permit, you could have a place where cannabis consumption could take place legally.
Can they do it outside, like in a cafe, open air style, or does it have to be inside the building?
It probably needs to be segregated from the rest of the population in the building. So it would need to be a segregated area. It could be outside or inside. But it has to be separate area for just smoking, kind of like they do here in Michigan. Now we got the squeaking, the rubber. He's chewing on the rubber so hard that it's squeaking loudly. It's just a piece of rubber. He's chewing on.
Yeah, we get it. Now he's stopped because he's listening to you. We need to make a substitution switch, and maybe in the break. We'll get this all together during the break.
No, it needs to get together now.
Oh,
anyway,
boy.
so it's together enough. It was just a squeak. I'm gonna hold the mic. You should go hold the mic over there. Just
No, this is like chalkboard crap with nails. It gets to a point, and you're
the
just
squeaking.
Like, I mean,
See,
like,
now
this doesn't bother me,
which
but
one's worse? The chewing of the rubber.
You,
me, I'm the worst.
You making the sound is way worse than what.
Oh, doing
they
the.
Oh, stop.
Really?
Yes, it's horrid.
So my creation of the actual sound is worse than the real
Yes,
sound? Well, it's cartoonish
believe it
like
or
that.
not.
Larger than life.
Whatever.
So the whole, which one's worse, the squeaking of the rubber or the squeaking of the toy?
I don't know. The first toy's worse because it was like really loud. This I can ignore. I mean, you and our listeners probably didn't like it, but
Look, listeners, I don't think can
ignore
hear the squeaking.
Really? Then I don't care because it doesn't bother me. So it's just you.
We have an attack cat over there attacking a bag of cat food.
Well, that should tell you something.
He's literally trying to get into the bag of cat food.
Well.
This is like Zootopia in here.
My dog breaks into the cat food.
Yeah, but this is a cat breaking into the dog food, or in this case, a cat breaking into their cat food.
Then all is right with the world. This is as it should be.
He's literally a cat burglar.
He is. Not a turd burglar like my dog, which is another issue. This is why we had to have a whole thing of litter over here, because my service dog says, yum, 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 yum.
All right, so if if you're a place in Denver now, according to this report, what they did was the Liquor Control Commission or the liquor licensing board, whoever's in control of the liquor authority in Colorado, said, "Oh, not so fast, Denver. You may have passed this Prop 300, but if you're an establishment with liquor on board and you've got a license from the state to sell liquor, then you can't have, it's against our rules, you can't have any marijuana." They created a new rule that said no.
You can't have marijuana when? Run that again.
No marijuana in your establishment. In other words, you can't get one of these new Denver permits if you have a liquor license.
Oh.
So,
well, so what does that mean? Does that mean that, is that
that
bad?
means
Is that
just
good?
what it says. No, it's bad. It's because there's, most of probably the places they were targeting to give this ability to have just been declined by the state over their liquor license. Because most of the clubs are going to have a liquor license. Most of the places where you would want to go to have an event that would be friendly to making a cannabis, smoking event, is going to have a liquor license. Bars, restaurants, other establishments.
What about like Knights of Columbus?
Booze is pervasive.
What if you just moved to places like that? I mean, why do we have to have certain licensing? Is there a way to get around it? I mean, just off the cuff.
No, it's permits. It's permitting. It's permitting.
Right. Well,
But you could be any place. Right now, this is going to be limited to any establishment that doesn't have a liquor license.
so if you have a liquor license, though, you can't also have a marijuana
Permit.
So the two are exclusive.
Correct. They have to be separate establishments. Now, here's how you could get really clever with this.
Okay.
This would be my temporary solution to that problem. Do we have time for this?
I don't know. How long
Barely.
is this going to take?
Barely. So here we go. I got like less than a minute. So my way of controlling this would be to say it would be smart if I was a bar operator and I wanted to have a cannabis-related event, I might co-opt the building next to me or an establishment next door to let them get the permit, pay for the permit, and then have the cannabis smoking at the neighboring building so that people could go over there to smoke and come back to play.
I've run into things like this. My friend had a wine bar, and 2 doors down, she had the party room.
Yeah.
She would rent that out and 2 different things, and it worked great.
So we're heading off to break. When we come back, we got lots more to talk about on the cannabis opposition front. We got Jeff Sessions, senator. Is he the senator from like Alabama or something? It's one of them Southern. Arkansas? I don't remember. Jeff Sessions is nominated to be the new attorney general. That and more cannabis negative news coming up.
You're getting the full melt.
Your pets aren't just animals, they're members of your family. That's why we are excitedly wagging our tail about our hemp-based product that caters specifically to your best friend. Hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats, and really all kinds of pets. Hemp well drops are made from virgin, cold-pressed organic hemp oil. Our extraction process ensures the highest quality oil for your pet, with superior taste, smell, and nutrition. We hold ourselves to the highest standards, never using heat, chemicals, or preservatives in making our hemp oil products for pets. Pick up a bottle of Hempwell drops today at select retailers or online at hempwell.com. Hempwell, hemp health for pets.
If you missed the last Full Melt show,
You missed a lot.
Yes, sir. We are just here to get you qualified, okay, for the lower interest rates.
this is a Visa card.
Okay, it's a Visa card, starts with 4, right?
So why do you need the numbers off the card?
I was going to let you know, like, what is your new interest rate going to be and what you qualified for, okay?
Well, wouldn't it be a security risk if I was to give my card number over the phone?
Like, sure, we are the ones who send you the billing statements every month.
Aren't you really just a liar? Aren't you just lying about this? Aren't you just trying to steal my credit card number? Oh, you are. You little piece of shit. You're a little fucking liar, aren't you? You're a little foreign piece of shit, aren't you? You're a little foreign fucking puke, aren't you?
That's what you are. You fucking piece of shit.
Oh no! You get to suck my fucking. You get to suck my fucking American dick, you foreign piece of fucking shit. There you go. That's how you do that.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
Wish your skin could bounce back like it used to? Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel instantly quenches skin to keep it supple and hydrated day after day. With hydrating hyaluronic acid, which retains up to 1,000 times its weight in water. This refreshing water gel plumps skin cells with intense hydration and locks it in. For supple, hydrated skin that bounces back. Hydro Boost from Neutrogena. See what's possible.
And now, a Planet Green Trees flashback.
That is the paradox. Like you can't make the civil employees rebut the presumption, right? The state just gave $8.5 million to this administrative agency to implement. I mean, the concept there is a little offset.
The police are still seem to be involved in it.
Nothing takes incentives away from police. In fact, it gives them more fish to shoot in the barrel.
Right.
The police are literally the regulatory agency for the entire program.
And why is that?
They needed their cut.
They're the only ones knowledgeable and responsible enough to handle it. This major public health and safety issue.
Don't miss the Planet Green Trees show, Thursdays at 8 Eastern on Spreaker. It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Got another girl. He might be fucking her right now. I don't have an apartment. Thought if I was smart I'd make it far, but I'm still at the start.
She'll make you fart? Is that what she said? I think she said she'll make you fart.
Fuck, that's what they are.
I don't know. It's that I don't know what. Nobody can hear you. You don't. No. Yeah, we're on.
Oh, well, heck, here I am.
Duh.
Okay, I thought we were just having conversation. Sorry.
I'm just playing a song.
Oh, I liked it, though.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the first thing I said when I came back on the air. Did she just say that she's going to make you fart? That's what she said.
I think she swore, too, and you told me the first rule of broadcasting school is you're not allowed to fart in the studio or swear.
No, that's not broadcasting school. That's studio etiquette. I mean,
studio etiquette.
Yeah, because it's a tiny room with no air, so farting and burping is not
I went
allowed.
through that with the doctor and my service dog. I went to a small room getting physical therapy, and my service dog let go. It was rough.
It's funny because the same dog that's making the squeaking noises in here today, when I was in the place where I go to vote, it's like the township hall.
Yeah.
I came in there looking for an ordinance or something. I don't need to. Oh, I knew it was a dog license. I need to get a copy of the dog license. They had just finished rebuilding the area. So it's all brand new digs. I mean, the whole of the building is brand new. They just literally cut the ribbon and let people in.
And they let you go through.
And then I go in there with the dog, and he sits down on that hard tile surface and just rips hard. And it's echoing off all the surface. It's like fart, echo, 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 fart, echo, echo, echo. And I'm like, and everybody looks at me, and I'm like, it's the dog. They're like, sure, it's the dog. Yeah.
Brody let one go on rubber.
You don't have to talk that close.
Oh, sorry. Brody let one go on rubber flooring yesterday, so it made like a reverberating sound. That was special. Wait.
Here we go. Listen to this. Hang on.
As smoke fills the street.
I can't even see anything.
All right, hang on. All right, hold up.
The Full Melt Show.
No, stop. Hang on. So, I forgot that I placed that segment in there. Earlier in the show, I timed this out. I wanted to play that piece. I'm glad because it's keeping us on target instead of talking about dogs and farting. Sorry about the Brody. I didn't mean to interrupt the Brody part. So the theme was negative. All this negative stuff that's happening around cannabis law, and because I think there's going to be some big pushback, and I'm just bringing you some examples some evidence of what I'm talking about here now today. The first thing was the thing about the state firing back at the citizens of Colorado in Denver, saying, oh, no. Yeah, your whole plan to have bars with booze and weed is not going down. That's not happening. You might have to come up with something else, but it ain't going to be that. So there's a little bit of pushback just in a Colorado-friendly, marijuana-friendly state. It pushback from their own state government, and I view this as protectionism around alcohol.
Of course,
this is the state stepping in to protect the alcohol licensees from the competition of marijuana in their establishments.
Exactly, and they show that alcohol usage goes down for those states that adopt medical and or recreational. It's a threat to the whole industry, and this is what lobbyists get paid on from from alcohol interests to not be medical marijuana or recreational friendly because it makes their profits go down. They don't want the competition.
So this is not the only, and the reason I don't like bringing negative stuff, guys, I kind of cringed when I said more marijuana negative news coming up. I'm like, oh, there's a great promo.
Yeah.
There's a way to get people to come back.
I want to hear about that.
I didn't mean it like that. What I meant was, because that was a terrible way to sign out of that segment. What I meant by that was more news about the negative marijuana front, because right now it's turning negative. I mean...
Well, there's more coming down the chute with the AG pick.
Oh, just one thing at a time. Come on, don't get the cart ahead of my horse here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I already mentioned that we're going to talk about that.
Oh, we did?
So some of the other stuff that's happening so here in Michigan, we've had this for almost, it's going on 10 years now, right? Since we passed this in 2008. We passed it in 2008. It's 16. It's going on 17. It's 8 years. So it's going on 10 years.
Pert near.
And so we've kind of been through the gamut, through the ringer on all of the different stages of denial the state goes through when you start to do something like this. First, the state is like, oh, no, it didn't pass. That's not going to ever pass. Oh, it passed. They kind of had in this state the whole thing, that the election hangover that we've got in 2016 over the president. Same thing happened in Michigan over the marijuana issue after the presidential election in 2008. The state legislators that put no faith or effort that this was ever going to pass a snowball's chance in hell of getting voted in by Michigan's voters. They completely underestimated that. It was overwhelmingly voted in by Michigan's voters. And so they had this hangover. And so there was this denial stage. In fact, I'll give you an example of the denial stage. I walked into my local township office to get a copy of their recent adoption of a medical marijuana ordinance. This was the following year. This was early in 2009. And they had passed an ordinance because that's one of the first things they do in this negative Nancy area. As soon as you take a progressive step forward about marijuana, the pushback is, no. We're going to put a moratorium up, and we're going to put the NIMBY signs up. Not in my backyard. You're not doing that here. So we're going to elect to become a dry medical county. You can't have your medical cannabis here. Well, we took them to court about that, and eventually the state ended up declaring itself a loser on that front because, you can't create a local ordinance that's more restrictive than the state law granting rights for. The medical marijuana thing in Michigan granted limited immunity to patients and caregivers who had a doctor's prescription for their chronic condition for growing and consuming and using and transporting and doing all the things you have to do to consume medical cannabis. It gave those patients and caregivers limited immunity. What these guys said is, no, you can't have that immunity here. And the state court had to eventually, we're talking about the Supreme Court, eventually said, no, you can't say that your right doesn't exist everywhere. The limitation or the exclusion of being prosecuted under normal health code or criminal code doesn't go away in certain areas because you don't like it. It's a state law.
It's like having a driver's license that only works in certain parts of the state.
Exactly.
It doesn't work in other parts.
Exactly.
It's not right. You either have a driver's license that works all in the state of Michigan, or you don't, because it's too hard to comply
because
with.
it's a state license. It's not a county license. It's not a township or it's not a municipal license.
It's a preemption issue. The state preempts the ordinances, and ordinances can give you more rights, but they can't take away rights the state has already given you.
Well, in this case, that right is a limited immunity. It's the right to an immunity. It's a constitutional amendment to an immunity right.
Correct.
So that was the problem. And much goes the same here. They're in Denver, they're saying, oh, no. And I got to get us back on the timeline, so I'm going to kind of push back forward towards this piece that started the play accidentally. Denver's saying, no. This is part of the pushback here. So in Michigan, we went through all these intronations, the denial, because that's what it was. I was telling you the story about the denial that I found in Michigan. When I walked in there, and the dog didn't fart that time. I didn't have the dog with me at that time. In fact, I didn't even have the dog at that time. When I walked in there and asked for the ordinance, lo and behold, back where the lady was copying the ordinance, because it took her a minute to look up because they just passed it. It wasn't even in the normal place you would go to get it. It's fresh in another spot.
Hot off the press.
So she had to go to there to get it, and then she's going to make copies of it for me. She's at the copy machine. It's got to be 10 yards away from the counter where I'm standing. It's at the furthest point in the building that I can physically see from where I'm at. And I can guess who's standing right there but a guy from the sheriff's department. So, it's a sheriff. And he's standing next to the copy machine, and he overhears the conversation and sees what she's copying and starts to assault me from across the room verbally. He called me a pothead. He called me a hippie. He called me...
I didn't even know who you were or anything.
Because I'm asking about the marijuana ordinance.
You could have been a journalist, whatever. Anyone can ask.
The first thing out of his mouth was, oh, no, that law should never have passed. And he started yelling at me calling me names from across the room. And I told him, I said, listen, I had to take that off. I said, listen, you're not going to insult me from across the room. I'm not even talking to you. Nobody begged your question. Nobody's asking for your input. And you know what? Now that you're inputted on it, I'll tell you this.
Yourself in the situation.
You don't get to pick which laws you get to enforce. That's the great part about the separation of powers. There's people that create laws and there's people that enforce them. All you're here to do is to enforce the laws that we create. End of story. And he wanted to start and yell at me and debate. He was continuing to use pejorative terms against me and was belittling me in public in front of these ladies that I had to do business with.
That's nice.
And so I stopped him and I apologized to the ladies for his conduct because it was unbecoming an officer, and I told him that. And I said, I'll be having a discussion with your superior officer about this. Good. And so this is just one of the. It turned out that he was the superior officer.
Oh, geez. Well, not really.
Because I called up and I left a complaint. He answered the phone and he goes, I explained the whole situation to him. And he goes, oh, oh yeah, I remember you. And I go, wait a minute, that was you. He goes, yeah. I said, oh, so you're the one that needs what I tell him he needed
re-education.
No, I told him he needed sensitivity counseling,
sensitivity training.
Yes.
He was an inferior officer, not a superior officer. That's for sure. Wow.
So it was just a bit shocking to me that a guy that doesn't even know me, upon simply asking for the local ordinance created at the township level, decided it was necessary to insult and assault me from across the room verbally.
And instantly stigmatize you.
Well, and also show what an ass he is. But in any event, that's Sergeant Venus out at the Oakland County Sheriff's Department.
She's got it.
Now, Sergeant and I have since come to terms on some things because, he got corrected by me and he didn't have much room to stand because the township there, it was employing him directly by contract. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of an employee of the township. Yeah. And so he didn't have too much to say after I went to the township supervisor and had a nice conversation with him about the way the sheriff was treating me. So
a little bit of power.
At the end of the day, that all got fixed. But my point is this. You go through these different stages of denial when you pass progressive marijuana reform. And we've already been through those internations in this state. And same thing with Colorado. It's been through all those internations. California is still trying to get through the rest of them. And And so this is a problem. It's just a problem. They're not going to they're not going to put any faith in that progressive legislation because, again, they're all hooked on this. They're all hooked on this on the teat of cannabis prohibition money. The police are specifically. It's terrible. It's like they're heroin addicts, but it's all about cash. They realize that their departments are in major trouble if they don't have the slush fund money that comes from all the cash that comes from marijuana prohibition.
They're addicted to it.
That's what I mean. They're busy rubbing their arms for the next fix. When they start running out of cash in the slush fund, they got to go raid somebody because it's the only way they're replenishing that slush fund.
And that's how they do their budget for the year, based on the fact they're going to take your neighbor's TV in his car.
So aside from all the regular stuff that we just kind of went through, I'm just highlighting that because now that you're getting 4 more states passing cannabis reform just in with regards to retail adult use, right? But in addition to that, several more states jumping on the medical platform, Florida amongst them.
Arkansas,
there's a bunch of them. And so these guys are just now starting to go through some of that. Just now, like Minnesota. I don't remember where these guys are from, but listen to this story. So this is a terrible story, and it's one we've heard over and over again, and it's just, plain stupidity. It's really the prohibition of cannabis in the first place that causes situations like the one I'm about to play for you to take place, because had it not been prohibited, none of this would have been done underground, and none of the after results or repercussions of that activity would have taken place, because there would already be a regulated, appropriate, knowledgeable, readily known place to accomplish the goal these people were trying to accomplish. I'll play for you the story now.
And then the flames shot up the back.
As smoke fills the street,
I can't even see anything.
emergency crews rush to a burning home in St. Cloud.
There's also a mom who lives here, and she's unaccounted for.
Questioning, is anyone trapped inside? A fatally injured elderly woman is pulled from the flames.
Their victim's further down.
And a teenage boy makes a bizarre statement to a police officer.
Keep you updated on what's going on, all right?
I mean, the fact that I just killed my grandma.
18-year-old Dustin Zublocki, who says he killed his grandmother, 85-year-old Sally Douglas.
Why did you just kill her? What are you talking about?
Had been hanging out with his buddy, 19-year-old Justin Peck. Peck, who was put in the back of a squad car to stay warm, admitted to officers
we had a hot plate going in the room.
The two teens were cooking up trouble in the family basement.
I made dabs.
The butane drips through the marijuana.
Dabs, also known as butane hash oil, or marijuana wax, are a resin.
Sticky, wax-like substance.
Northwest Metro Drug Task Force Commander Bob Topp explains it's made through a process that forces highly flammable butane through a tube.
This is a pretty elaborate one.
To strip a marijuana plant of THC, the chemical that gets you high. It's then cooked.
We see it in different forms, but this is probably the most popular.
Popular because it's highly concentrated, giving users a high that is up to 8 times more intense than loose-leaf marijuana.
What gets you more high is kind of what people are after, and this is it.
Where'd you guys hear about this?
There's about 10,000 videos on the
Go ahead, Google it. He's right.
Make sure the butane nozzle fits.
The St. Cloud boys were using a hot plate and these canisters of butane to make their dabs when fire filled the air.
It's just like a huge flame just right in our face.
St. Paul Fire and the Minnesota Department of Public Safety demonstrated for KARE 11
Fire in the hole!
just what can happen when you get the right mix of butane,
3,
air,
2,
and a spark.
1.
Very fast, instantaneous explosion that can reach up to about 2,000 degrees.
Jim Smith is the Chief Deputy State Fire Marshal.
And if they're working in the basement or anywhere near a water heater, furnace, something like that, that's a great source of ignition.
Explosions, fires.
Large ball of fire.
Okay, copy due to an explosion. Ambulance.
Death and injuries are being reported across the country from this recipe.
Making marijuana hash oil.
Especially in states that have loosened marijuana laws. This is recently released footage from a medical marijuana dispensary in New Mexico. The workers are making the wax when the room becomes hell on earth. Those workers survived what a St. Cloud grandmother could not. And there's evidence it's an increasing threat here in Minnesota. Carol Evans' review of state data reveals seizures of marijuana wax have skyrocketed since 2013.
Everywhere from outstate, small-town Minnesota to major metropolitan areas.
Brian Marquardt coordinates Minnesota's statewide drug and gang task forces.
We had about 60 arrests all of last year, and so far this year we've had over 100 arrests of dealers and sellers.
It's all Viking.
Recently, Viking superfan Carl Heinrichs, a.k.a. Sir Death,
That's me with Aaron Rodgers' head on a spear.
made headlines when he was busted in a drug case. He's pled not guilty, but court records claim 9 pounds of marijuana wax was seized from his Stillwater home. And unlike getting caught with regular old pot, possession of even a little of this wax can carry some serious judicial weight.
Because it's a concentrate, by statute, any amount is a felony.
The debate over marijuana is always a heated one, but even accidentally spark a fire that kills someone, as Zublocki and Pick did in St. Cloud.
I knew the risk. I thought we were properly prepared.
And you can end up with murder on your rap sheet.
And that's something I'll be living with.
AJ Legault, Carol 11 News.
Pick pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting third-degree murder and was sentenced to 25 years probation.
This past May, Zablocki was sentenced to 6 years in prison.
6 years in prison. 6 years in prison. The kid got and okay. So first off, I can see how a teenager, because this kid's 18 years old, he did effectively kill his grandmother accidentally. They were in the basement making BHO, butane hash oil, and had a hot plate. And the problem was they didn't account for the idea. The hot plate is useless if indeed the open spark is coming from the furnace or the water heater. And, they're open blasting in the basement, which is, incidentally, kids, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that unless you want to end up like they did with a burned up home.
A dead granny.
Or a dead anything. I mean, number one, there is no amount of cannabis wax is worth somebody's death or severe injury at all. Zero. None. Number two, let somebody else who knows what they're doing do that. Number three, if you do end up deciding that you're going to do it anyways, at least be smart and do it out of doors, where if there is a spark or an explosion, it's not contained and percussive.
Away from residences. Away from a residence. It's the main deal, where it can catch on fire and affect other people.
You don't want to do this with any fuel source around.
No.
Anything that can catch fire. If you listen to the stats of the fire guy in that report, that the cloud of flame that gets ignited from a spark with butane and the right butane oxygen mixture is up to 2,000 degrees just in that big poof. It's an extremely hot flame. It's not a cool flame. And although it only lasts seconds or milliseconds, it could be really short. The damage is nonetheless, it's still 2,000 degrees.
It's not a good thing.
So this is nothing to play with. But on the other side of that note, that story is complete hogwash.
It's inflaming, so to speak.
Geez.
I'm sorry, but it is. It
Should
inflamed
go right there,
me.
right to the pun.
While I'm listening to it, I'm like, I got two words for this. So what?
Double entendre.
This is just so framed, so wrong. It's just to raise the scare tactics against people.
Well, there's no question that this guy was trying to do a negative report about cannabis.
And Granny's sitting at home, sees this, and you tell her, look, I've got this concentrate that'll make your arthritis pain go away. And then she puts it together with the little boy who blew up his grandmother in the basement and all that. She's not going to want to try that. She's going to be scared.
The idea that this even happened or its opportunity took place at all lays directly, that blood lies directly at the feet of cannabis prohibitionists and nobody more.
Yeah.
Because again, if they were able to go get the wax at the local dispensary, These are 18 and 19-year-old adults.
But kids get curious too. I mean, my husband used to do like bombs in the middle of the streets when he was 7, just to see things go
I'm
up
just
in
saying,
smoke.
if they
People
had,
do
if,
things out of
if
curiosity.
They had it, this is Minnesota. These are farm kids.
Yeah, so they're going to do things anyhow. Even if it were available, they might just do it out of idle curiosity. Who knows?
I'm just saying, if they're not going to do it anyways, if they can go down to the store and get it. They're not here to conduct an experiment. They can do that in high school. They can do that
they
in
are
a
high
lab.
school age.
I'm saying they can go to high school and do their lab experiment. If they're out for an experiment, they've already got an outlet for it. That's my point. But if they're going to sit here and try and get cannabis concentrate because they want to get high, if they had an outlet for it, they would go use the outlet. Nobody gave these kids an outlet. And I'm not saying that that it's appropriate for these guys or anything else. What I'm saying is that the death of that woman and their untimely incarceration would have been completely prevented.
It's needless
if these guys had an outlet for that curiosity. Because if they did the same thing with alcohol, they'd have had the same results. They don't have to do it with alcohol because they're not brewing alcohol from a still in the basement, which can explode. They can go get some from their friends who got it from their, dad or mom's closet or wherever they got their booze from. And they get an outlet. They got a way where they can get it, where they don't have to manufacture it because there is no other way.
I got you.
But that's not the only negative news.
Yay.
It seems to be coming in droves. It's not like, I suppose the pendulum's been swinging back the other way since the 30s. Slowly at first. Slowly I turn, inch by
70
inch.
years is slow.
It's an old Abbott and Costello thing. That's slowly I
Mm-hmm.
turn. It's maddening to see happen because it really highlights what small bubbles we live in. I mean, we live in a really tiny bubble. Most people are born, raised, educated, conduct their lives, and die in a 50-mile radius of where they were born. I mean, that's their bubble.
Most people die in a 20-mile radius of where they live.
Well, of where they live, but I'm saying most people stay in that 50-mile bubble their entire lives.
Yeah.
And so they don't get very worldly about things. It's really evidence right now that people are in little microcosms of information. They're little tiny bubbles of information that are specific to their zone, their little area. And it's sad because it shows how unworldly people are, how unwilling people are to look outside their own backyard to see what the rest of the world is like and how it responds and acts to the same things that you might have.
And it's always through their experience and their, what I always say, goggles. Like they want to translate whatever other people do according to what they would do, and that's not always the right standard. I mean, I've seen this with juries. They'll hear people describe a story, then they'll deliberate and they'll go, well, if this happened to me, I would have done this, this, and that. Well, yeah, but that's not what the situation's calling for. You have to think that just because you would think of something isn't necessarily always reasonable under the circumstances. So it's goggles.
All right. Moving along, Jeff Sessions.
Oh, boy. Arkansas.
Yeah. So part of the hangover we've got with the whole Trump election, because I think even the people that voted for Trump, a lot of them are like, holy fuck, what we just do.
Well, December 19th, Electoral College still has to vote. That's what they're there for. Constitutionally, they were put into place so a despot could not be put into place if the electorate went crazy and accidentally elected the wrong person. In this case, more people voted for Hillary than Trump by almost 2 million votes.
It's not the first time it happened. It's the second time in 16 years it happened.
Right. So then again, the Electoral College could do what it's supposed to do and why it's in place to do, even though we would like to get rid of it. It should step in and say, look, this is a threat. It's a fail-safe.
It's designed to prevent a mob mentality.
Yeah, and it's a fail-safe measure. And I think it's time to pull that emergency brake and say, whoa. You can already see by who he's picking that these people are disasters. They're still part of the regime. They're still part of the establishment. And they're going to kill anything good that we even have in place, period.
So I'm not one of these guys that's for the free trade agreement.
Neither.
I'm not about the whole. I'm certainly not for NAFTA. NAFTA was disastrous for this country, and that was a Bill Clinton initiative. And I love Bill Clinton. If I saw Bill Clinton today, I'd probably kneel down and go, "Oh, I'm not worthy."
I was kind of the same way too, because when we're the same age, and things were going good when he was in.
Look, the times have never, ever, ever, and probably won't be again, as good as they were during the Clinton years, because Clinton did pull all the valves, knobs, clocks, bells, gongs, and whistles to make this economy sing. It hummed and it sang to the tune of digging us out of a huge debt through the Reagan-Bush era, and then created a surplus that then his successor, President Bush, gave away. That's a whole other story. I mean, who gives away the farm and then starts a war? It opens up the checkbook, or really, better yet, it's not a checkbook, because checkbook implies that there's money in the bank to pay the check with. He opens up the credit card accounts. It's an endless credit card account. Let's cut taxes. So let's give away the farm, then start a war that we can't pay for, and get it all done on credit, and then let's crash the entire economy by letting those guys at the Securities and Exchange Commission run free and amok of any regulations that keep them in check.
You're getting the full melt.
Your pets aren't just animals, they're members of your family. That's why we are excitedly wagging our tail about our hemp-based product that caters specifically to your best friend. Hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats, and really all kinds of pets. Hemp oil drops are made from virgin, cold-pressed organic hemp oil. Our extraction process ensures the highest quality oil for your pet, with superior taste, smell, and nutrition. We hold ourselves to the highest standards, never using heat, chemicals, or preservatives in making our hemp oil products for pets. Pick up a bottle of hemp oil drops today at select retailers or online at hempwell.com. Hempwell, hemp health for pets.
Attention. Get ready to write down a very important number.
Michael does not know how to fail. Second place is loser.
If you have a medical marijuana case and need legal representation, call the best, attorney Michael Comorn.
He's very passionate in the courtroom.
Getting the best outcome requires quick legal action, and it needs to start with one call, toll free to attorney Michael Comorn. 800-656-3557. Write it down, 800-656-3557.
Michael Comorn gave us our life back.
Attorney Michael Comorn. Vigorous criminal defense.
Play-Doh compound can help kids practice communication skills. Start by presenting the visual of the letter or word. Then ask them to mold the Play-Doh compound into the shape of the letters. It's an effective way to foster speech and even writing.
Ram trucks are reaching new heights when it comes to capability and efficiency. The Ram Heavy Duty is the most capable full-size pickup on the road today. And the Ram 1500 is the most fuel-efficient full-size pickup ever. So what does that mean? It means Ram trucks are built for the long haul. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
RootMetrics, in the nation's largest independent study, tested wireless performance across the country. Verizon won big with 153 state wins. AT&T got 38, Sprint got 2, and T-Mobile got 0. Verizon also won first in the U.S. for data, call, speed, and reliability. AT&T got text. Stuck on an average network? Join Verizon, and we'll cover your cost to switch.
Tell me, do we get what we deserve? Oh, we get what we deserve.
It's the Full Melt radio show.
Radio show.
And where down we go.
This is one of those new songs I love.
Who is this, though?
No, you're not going to make me look it up, are you?
Jeez, how can I learn new music if I don't know what it is?
I got to look it up now, so you're going to make me look it up.
We need our call-in people to bring us that information.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them the number.
Yeah, the number
It's the 8067 number.
The 248-278-8067. Call in. 248-278-8067. We're talking about cannabis and the news and entertainment. Steve was on a negative note. He was saying we have to talk about like how the...
It's Kalo, by the way.
Kayla?
Kalo.
Kalo.
It's Kaleo. Kaleo.
Well, I like that. Let's play this some more later in the other break.
I can play it right now if you want.
All right. Well, no objections from the field.
Little Kaleo.
That's nice. I like it. It reminded me of that one guy that just that one "Take Me to Church." That song.
Why
Let me
that?
take you to church. No, Okay.
Well, it doesn't.
Anyhow, so there's been some negative developments with the cannabis laws that just passed.
Here we go.
Primarily, people want to put on moratoriums. They don't even know what they're putting a moratorium on, which is kind of ridiculous. It's kind of what states do when they're hit with the idea of like, oh, the old way of working, the old regime is falling. So there's a reaction, and it's usually something that's predictable. The states go through these evolutions. They want to be in denial first. Here we go.
It's pretty cool too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we get what we deserve.
Kaleo.
And we're down we go.
Hot tea fresh on a full melt.
Oh, we're down we go.
Fully melted.
So we're down we go. Way down we go.
Yeah, I know I'm not going to cook more on you. I can't play much more than that anyways because then they made me play with royalty rights.
Right, we don't want to pay for things we
You're only allowed to play like 30 seconds, and then it's considered a
It's just a
clip.
vine.
It's just a clip if you play 30 seconds.
It's
or
an
less.
audio vine.
It's an audio vine.
It's an audio vine.
So yeah, it's bad news when they start putting on the cannabis breaks. The problem is that the cannabis breaks are being applied way too late in the game. These guys at this end of the car, though, don't realize that the brakes have already been applied like 10 years ago at the other end of the same car.
Well, people
it's like the front end of the car doesn't know that the back end of the car is like way behind the times.
Yeah, well, all the people that made horseshoes didn't like the advance of the auto either. They had to find new things to do. They lost out too.
Yeah,
Change with the times.
So Jeff Sessions, we were talking about Trump and the economy, and then we got into Bush, and here we are with this new president-elect who's due to take office January 21. January 20th, 21?
I think it's 20th. 20.
So his first full day of office is the next day, right? Because who does anything presidential on the first day?
D-Day. Well, he's never going to do anything
'Cause
presidential.
they have the big ball. They have the dancing afterwards. There's a big party. Nobody's doing anything presidential that day.
A bunch of kiss.
Yeah, it's a bunch. Yeah, it's a bunch of hand jobs in the smoky-filled rooms.
Come on now. PG-13.
No, it's what's going on. I mean, you don't sugarcoat it. I mean, that's what's happening at that party. There's a bunch of hand jobs happening in smoke-filled rooms. And
well, maybe I need to get tickets to one of these places. This doesn't sound too bad after all.
The thing is that the guy that's doing the hand jobbing in many, and this is duplicated all across the room. The guy that's doing the hand jobbing is expecting he's going to get a favor returned, a little reach around somewhere back in the future.
Can we get off the?
I'm just saying somebody's looking for a reach around a few days from now because they planted that seed. No pun intended. On the inauguration night.
Grab him by the pussy.
Right, exactly.
That's the conclusion.
Exactly.
That's gonna be my new T-shirt. I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be like a cat with a Trump hair on. It's gonna say "Grab life by the pussy." That's my new motto. I'm just going forward.
Make America better. Grab life by the pussy.
Yeah, go forward. Make yourself great again. I don't know. I mean, we got to fight back against Trump the best we can by adapting to whatever we can anticipate. We don't even know yet.
Well, no, we do know. Jeff Sessions is no friend. No, Jeff Sessions is no friend to marijuana.
No, he hates it. He says the KKK would be okay, except that they're all right with pot. So he doesn't like
quote
the
I believe
KKK.
was the quote I believe was, "I was all right with the KKK until I found out they smoked marijuana." That was the quote.
Well,
and his other quote that he says that was said tongue in cheek.
Oh
he was
my
just
God.
goofing around when he said that. I was all right.
More
with those guys
locker
until I
room
found out
talk. More locker room talk. What type of talk is that?
blowing out that microphone doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
So when we do somebody like Jeff Sessions, you look at, because one of the other things he was nominated in '86 for a court position that the Senate then, he was not a senator then, but the Senate then needed to sign off on in order for, and they didn't sign off on him.
A court position? He was going to be a judge?
He was going to be a judge, Judge Sessions.
Okay, I got you.
And the Senate said, no, we're not going to.
Oh, that's right. They said you're too racist.
That's right. You're racist, and You also specifically the racism, but the misogyny. There was some misogynistic
little
things.
Misogyny thrown in for
and
fun.
then also, more racism.
A little bit more racism than misogyny. Yeah, he was too racist. They didn't want him. They said you're not fit to be a judge. But now he's going to be the head attorney for all the United States.
No, he's going to be the chief law enforcement officer of the entire country. Yeah,
he's going to be the AG, the Attorney General.
I mean, he is the highest official law enforcement officer of the land.
He's not fit to be a janitor in a court building.
He shouldn't be changing urinal pads.
He shouldn't.
Okay? Honestly.
I wouldn't trust him.
And if he did, I would make him change it in the blacks-only restroom. I'm just kidding. Because that would be hell for Jeff Sessions to have to use the blacks-only restroom to change the urinal pads.
I get it. This is what people voted for. They thought they were getting changed. They're not. They're getting the same old, same old. Hey, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. But it's even going to be more older white men that hate people even more. Like the cycle of hate is complete now.
So he insists that he's not racist. He insists that he did his job according to the law and blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
It's all poppycock and circumstance.
It used to be legal to beat people and to own them. So I don't think that's a good standard to measure things by, whether
Here's
it's legal.
the thing. Now, on the one hand, and I don't know where to fall on this. I want to fall on this well, it'll be apparent why I want to fall on this. But there's the one point of view that says what I was just espousing, that somebody like Jeff Sessions is a danger to the cannabis marketplace. If he gets in there and says, "Oh no, we're going to make sure that federal law is enforced," and he's going to pull a Chris Christie, all you pot smoking hippies that think you're going to free the weed, we're putting that genie back in the bottle.
No, I don't think you'll ever put that genie back in the bottle. In fact, that's what it's going to say. There's going to be too many people invested.
It is indeed an untenable position for the prohibition of cannabis on a federal level.
And it'll anger people, and it'll make people rise up and say, you're not taking this away. There's too many people that have put millions and millions of dollars into this industry to see it go under. And I know they want a corporate takeover, but there's plenty of average people and small businesses that are willing to fight back for their right to keep on making money.
It's sad to watch the amount of foot dragging by the former prohibitionists that they still haven't figured out that this war is lost.
They're dinosaurs. They're dying.
Well, it's not only that, but they're addicted and dying. They're addicted to that money and can't figure out how to run away from it. Let's face facts here. Not only has the prohibition of cannabis been about the manipulation and control of people, it's been about milking society of secret taxation.
Yep.
This is about putting taxation of public funding of public affairs, on the backs of a specific segment of society.
As it always is. They always use the little folks to fund their big ventures, and this is not part of providing a service to people.
But it's not sold, packaged, or viewed as a tax, which is clearly what it is. They're taxing these people, grinding them through the system for a prohibition that they know has zero merit.
It's a Soylent Green. They put them in the sausage maker, and once they start getting that monetary feed, when you threaten to take that away,
once you're hooked on that sausage,
they don't want to give it up.
Something's got to feed the machine to make the sausage.
When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. This is what they want to do. So once we even get legalized in whatever form it is, the police come back, the state comes back and finds another way to still attack you. And that's why even 8 years later, other people have got, the thing is legalized, but not really, because they just want to keep taking us and putting us in jail at all costs, whether we're doing what we're supposed to do or we're not doing what we're supposed to do. They don't want to give up the money stream. They can't. They're addicted.
There is another answer to this.
Okay, I want to hear it.
The answer is legitimately tax the nation and pay for your municipal expenses.
Yeah, and stop putting people in jail and ruining people's lives. It just makes overall our society decay.
I'm just saying there's a way to solve this problem, and it's one that legislators and police have walked away from for eons.
Because they're not about solving problems. They're about making money.
They're not about trying to raise taxes. They don't want to call this taxes. It's like what the governor in the state of Michigan did. He came into office saying he's not going to raise taxes, but instead he raised lots of fees, created lots of new licensing and expenses, raised all kinds of other things that he doesn't call them taxes at the end of the day. They don't go down in the book as raised taxes, but they are a tax.
Bunch of red tape,
By doubling the amount that you got to pay the Secretary of State every year, pretty much is what he did. They doubled the amount you got to pay to get your car licensed. And all I'm saying there is that, it's still a tax. They just packaged it and sold it in a different way. And that's all that the marijuana prohibition thing was for police and prosecutors and legislators, was a way of not having to continually raise taxes to pay for your police departments, because that's exactly, over the last 30 years, what they've done. More on the negative cannabis prohibition front next.
You're getting the full melt.
And now, a Planet Green Trees flashback.
When do medibles have to be tested too? Is that also part of the caregiver?
Nope, that's only for the.
Will they have to be tested?
It's only for the dispensaries.
But there is a new restriction with respect to medibles in that patients can only make them for themselves.
Right.
And they've created new crimes for transfers outside of the caregiver.
They're very specific. But I mean, it's not.
That's what we just talked about.
It's no more harsh than the manufacturing.
No. They can be transferred. The medibles can be transferred from the registered caregiver to the registered patient, but not beyond. And that's how they would expect you to interpret the law.
Don't miss the Planet Green Trees Show, Thursdays at 8 Eastern on Spreaker. Promotional consideration provided by NoSmell.com, pioneering the storage market for cannabis users. The NoSmell patented bag technology offers users 100% smell-proof detection from even the most sophisticated of noses. NoSmell.com, so nobody knows. When placing your order for a no-smell bag, make sure to use discount code FULLMELT and take 10% off the entire order. Learn more about no-smell technology at NoSmell.com.
Don't stop chasing, wander while the day brings up. Here comes the sunrise and we'll see the sunset. Coasting by the ocean with some music, turn it up. We got the whole night, 360 days of this. All I'm talking wide, the memories will make you always make you smile.
Happiness is calling at sandiego.org.
When you need legal help, you don't want to guess at who's standing next to you in court. And when it comes to a medical marijuana defense, it's even smarter to partner with a lawyer before you need one. Based in Royal Oak, David Rudoy has a proven history of not being afraid to take your case all the way to the Supreme Court and win. Find the law offices of Rudoy Law
at RudoyLaw.com.
RudoyLaw.com is a quick reference on your rights concerning Michigan medical marijuana
and up-to-date news.
That's RUDOI Law.com. Call 248-935-9074 now and talk about your legal needs, because at RudoyLaw.com, we don't just stand up for you, we stand up with you.
My moderate to severe chronic plaque psoriasis made a simple trip to the grocery store anything but simple. So I had an important conversation with my dermatologist about Humira. He explained that Humira works inside my body to target and help block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to my symptoms. In clinical trials, most adults taking Humira were clear or almost clear, and many saw 75% and even 90% clearance in just 4 months.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Ask about Humira, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists. Clearer skin is possible.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the news. I don't want to be the Negative Nancy show. I don't.
Okay, good.
But I think it's important to look and examine this for what it is and put it in its right place, because the idea that to hear all these same arguments that we've heard here in this state and other states have heard these arguments before too. The driving arguments.
It's a broken
record.
argument.
They're still pounding in Detroit. They're still arguing that this dispensary shouldn't be allowed to have a license because it's within 1,000 feet of that church. But the church has been burnt down for about a year and a half.
Well, someone might want to pray there.
What's that?
I'm being sarcastic. Someone might want to pray there. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I'm just saying the idea that in the first place, nothing should preclude a church from having any distance requirement under the law from a marijuana establishment.
Yeah, they can be right across Rite Aid. Why not a dispensary?
There's
no
nothing
harm.
there's nothing to offend a church about people using cannabis.
It's natural. If anything, they should be happy that they're using something mentioned in the Bible as cannabis.
The burning bush.
I
swear to God. Cannabis is the burning bush.
It is the burning bush, and Moses saw it and got high as heck and wrote down some crazy things on some tablets, and we still suffer.
The entire passages around the burning bush almost seemed like they were written by somebody who was stoned while they were watching the burning bush.
And on mushrooms at the same time. I mean, it's
or taking hyaluronic acid.
Or who knows? Taking anything. I don't know what the recipe is for it.
Hyaluronic acid. You put hyaluronic acid you put on your skin. You don't take it in the mouth.
I know. But did you hear that guy saying on that?
Nobody else knew. I was trying to clue them in.
Well, but I want to tell people how this guy called it a recipe on that clip you played. That was just so biased to call up.
No. What he said was that the explosions and injuries deaths and injuries are happening across the country from this recipe. That's the statement. I mean, that's crazy. In the first place, it wasn't a recipe. It's not like this was passed down, that there's some secret magic recipe. This is a process, not a recipe.
It's not a drug.
No, I'll give you the difference between the recipe and a process. Baking is a process. A cake is a recipe, right? So baking, there's a process. You turn the oven on. Right. You prepare the thing you're going to make. You put it in the oven. You cook it for a period of time. You take it out of the oven. You turn the oven off. That's the baking process. Mm-hmm. But
Cat Williams says,
but baking is only
marijuana.
good if you've got a recipe. This guy's trying to change the two names. He's trying to make them interchangeable. Baking and recipe are not interchangeable, and that's what I'm saying. His word of the year, the use of the term recipe here.
Yeah. Very biased.
It's imparting things that aren't there. It's making a reference that doesn't exist.
It's setting up the wrong framing for the whole story.
It's completely not only painting in a negative light, but doing it fraudulently.
It's inherently biased.
It's not even a straw man. It's the image of a straw man.
And then people who see this and have no idea butane, for example, is used in a lot of food preparation all throughout the nation. It's a common solvent. It's used for food prep and cosmetics already. They're making it sound like you're pouring gasoline on some plant and coming up with some concoction recipe. This is how you extract.
No, like this is some secret, drug smuggler recipe.
This is used in industry repeatedly and regularly all through the United States.
Butane is, but not
butane
cannabis.
Extraction is. Yes, it is. It's commonly used in many food grade and cosmetic industry purposes. So,
but it's not being done in the restaurants though. It's being done in industrial food centers.
So, but they're making it sound like butane. This sounds like some sort of weird thing, like you're just throwing gasoline on top of things or some weirdness, because people don't know what extraction is.
They're making it sound like it's a meth kitchen.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. And then there's people that are doing things they shouldn't be doing, and they're young and they're dumb, and that's how it is. And then everyone gets blamed for it. The truth is, concentrates do make a stronger THC, but then you can use less of it, and that's a good thing.
Well, it's like the soap that you use in the laundry detergent is a concentrate. When you make chocolate milk from syrup, you're using a concentrate.
Right.
When you put the vanilla extract in the cookie mix, you're using a concentrate.
And if you use crappy grocery store dishwashing liquid, it's not as good as the Dawn because it's not as concentrated.
Exactly.
So you get what you pay for.
It's watered down. It's a little more liquidy. It's a little more fluid. It's got less soap, more water, equal volume.
Let me tell you, and concentrates are what they are using for kids who have epilepsy. That's what they're using for people to help them get over cancer or the effects of cancer. It's used in Israel. It's not an evil sidekick thing, and that's what they're making it into.
And here's the other thing. If you've got some cannabis concentrate and you've got some those little the little Tide things that they got that look like candy.
Yeah, the pods.
Yeah, the little Tide pods that the kids were eating and getting poisoned by. Given the choice of my kid accidentally being exposed to one of those Tide pods or being accidentally exposed to some cannabis concentrate, I would pick the cannabis concentrate hands down every single time.
As far as I know, there's never been a direct cannabis death. So I would say,
I'm just saying that
you couldn't die from the concentrate.
The safety factor, the risk factor involved with the Tide pod is much greater than
night and day.
With the
it's like non-existent for the cannabis even.
Will there be consequences? Yes. Will they be life-impacting? No. Not even in the least.
This is just a false flag altogether because They're raising up issues that don't exist, and they're bringing people to think about things in a wrong way because they don't educate.
This is the Chicken Little method.
They're not educating people, and the money.
No, they are educating people. They're educating people intentionally about the wrong thing.
Well, then that's not an education. That's just propaganda.
It's a miseducation.
That's propaganda.
That is the definition of miseducation.
Well, then we got it all.
But looking forward, we've got some things going on. I'm wondering if remember I was telling you I wanted to bring Ryan in
Ryan,
here
yeah.
to do the show. I think Ryan is going to be here tomorrow.
Wow.
Keeping my fingers crossed. I know we're going to meet up with
he's a busy guy.
Going to meet up with him before the show.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll stick around to do the show.
Hopefully. I don't know. He can take the circus, This is kind of... I mean, tonight's very calm, but,
I wouldn't say it's calm with all the swirling that's going. There's a lot, and in Ghostbusters, the first one where you see all the spirits swirling around the sky. They're just like you're in like a giant toilet bowl. Yeah. You're the tidy bowl man. You're the tidy bowl man. And all the spirits are swishing around you like giant turds in the sky.
Yeah,
yeah. That's kind of what's going on right now in the cannabis community.
Yeah, and it ends in. Well, I don't want to say that.
It ends in a big flush.
I was going to say Flint, Michigan. It's where we're flushing it right down the toilet with our shitty, crappy water in Flint, Michigan. Oops,
no, it's going to end at some point. At some point, what's in the sky is going to fall from it. But right now,
I think people should be scared and maybe be on super alert and say we're going to fight against this. Sorry for interrupting.
When right now the stuff that's in the sky is going to come down. It's swirling around us. Like so much hurricane, but it's going to settle. And like I said, I started to say earlier, because we only got seconds left in the show, by the way. What I started to say earlier was, some people fall on the side of Jeff Sessions could take the twist that Chris Christie says he would take, putting the genie back in the bottle, so to speak. And then there's the other angle, which is that's an impossibility, and so therefore Jeff Sessions is going to have to modify his personal stance to fit the nation's needs. Because right now I don't think that Jeff Sessions has the authority inside Congress, because it's the makeup has changed. These are all states that passed retail cannabis. It's now really incumbent upon the people who are representing those places, those states in the legislature, to take the position of their state rather than the position of the prohibitionists, which make up the balance. Don't you agree?
I'm frustrated because they don't care what people think.
Doesn't care what people think.
The legislators, they don't do anything for the good of people.
All right, well, good night, Wendy. We'll talk
to you.
We'll talk to you.
Good night. You're probably down.
I brought her down.
Down, baby. Down.
Negative Nancy Show here on the Full Melt program.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.